What's up, guys? Here we are again. Class is in session. Get ready. So let's just jump right into it. I want to go back to one of my quotes that I was using from Eleanor Roosevelt. She said, do something every day that scares you. You know, I really got stuck on the idea of every day. Every day. I think that alone scares me. Consistency is hard. Discipline is hard. Doing something every single day is hard enough. I think um, in order to do that, just in itself, not actually attacking something hard or scary, but just that quote. If you want to follow that quote, there's a lot of things that you have to set up, and hopefully you've already done that. You have those skills, you have the discipline necessary, you have the consistency. You know, I always say, just show up. That's what she's saying. Just show up every single day and do that hard thing and do that thing that scares you every single day. You know, and sometimes we have to look at it from the lens of, all right, every single day. Yep, got it. And you do it one day, you do it 5 days in a row, and maybe you miss a day. Maybe you miss another 5 days after that. And a lot of times we get in our mindset that we just give up at that point. But if you do that, then starting again is going to be hard. But you got to just let that mistake go. Those 5 days or that one day or that 1 hour or that one block of period of time where you were inactive or you weren't consistent, you got to let that go. You have to have short-term memory loss on your failures so that you can jump back in the saddle and you can take off down that trail again. Right? So again, we were talking about vantage points, right? We were able to see our landscape from a lens of being separated from an environment, not being a part of the normal operations of your friends or your family or any of the drama that actually goes on or things like that. So you know, now we're back home. Now we're back in the regular routine. We're making those connections again. Now we are available. Now we're susceptible to some of that stuff that used to come our way, that we took a break from for a period of time. And again, now we're back to where these things are able to maybe get to us and affect how our perception is of things. So when we had the perspective, and we could see the landscape, maybe we could see where our goal was going to be. Maybe we saw our next 2, 3, 4 goals in a row, right? And maybe you noticed some of those obstacles that were going to be our pitfalls along the way. But now that you're back in this environment, can you still see those obstacles, right? Does it look the same now that we're listening to some of those influences, now that we are directly impacted by the things that normal operations of life is going to bring our way, whether it's going to school, whether it's going to work, whether it's the things in our household, in our neighborhoods, you know, on social media. Is that affecting us? Speaking of those obstacles, again, we just got back involved in the process of actively trying to set goals and accomplish those goals. But now you're back in that environment. Is this a new environment or is this the same old environment? Are you, more importantly, are you new and improved? Or as soon as you got back in environment, as soon as you got back into that room, as soon as you got back into that neighborhood, as soon as you got back into that family dynamic, as soon as you got around your friends, as soon as you got back in that neighborhood, as soon as you walked down the block, right? As soon as you drove past some of those places where maybe in the past we weren't so successful or made some of the best decisions, did we step down to meet that objective, or are we still on our previous objective of being successful and not going back into those old habits and those old ways? Is that an obstacle that you even noticed before? Is that something that you didn't plan for? You know, all these obstacles, all these things, right? You know, as soon as you got back into that environment, as soon as you got back into that dynamic, as soon as you got back into that groove, whether it's the old way or that you're trying to still walk this new path, there some fear might have arose, right? Because let's think about it. Do something every day that scares you. Every day that scares you. So we're talking about fear. And a lot of time obstacles are a representation of fear, right? It's an obstacle for a reason. It's prohibiting you from doing something. It's inhibiting you internally. It's causing you to feel that inhibition and not move forward or find a way around, over, or through that obstacle. So that obstacle is like a fear. And just like the quote says, do something that you're afraid of every single day. Do something that scares you every single day. So when we talk about fear, first of all, you have to embrace fear, I think, in order for you to actually address it and overcome it. You have to embrace it. And I think with embracing fear is not only telling ourselves that we are afraid of something, not only saying to yourself, I'm afraid of heights. I'm afraid of communicating or advocating for myself. I'm afraid of what my mom's going to think. I'm afraid of what my dad's going to think. I'm afraid of what my friends are going to think. Before I can actually do something about that fear and that obstacle, I have to embrace it. And I don't mean just to tell yourself, but I mean to say it out loud. Talk to somebody, talk to a friend, talk to that family member and let them know, you know, and this is just an example, but let them know what that fear is. There's a hard conversation I have to have. And I don't really know how to do it yet, but I know that we need to talk, or I'm going to talk to this person about this. And because when you communicate it out loud to another person, a couple of things, right? It does a couple of things for us, a couple of things, right? First, it makes you responsible, right? You know, you said it out loud. Now that person can hold you accountable for that thing that you said. Hey, did you talk to so-and-so yet? Hey, I thought we were going to have a talk, right? And secondly, and I think more importantly, it takes that power back. That fear can stop you from speaking, moving, thinking properly. That anxiety will ball you up into a knot and shut down your previous good perception of things, and can make you think that everything's against you and the world is dark again. And so you can shut down very easily just by that little bit of fear and anxiety, and giving into that and not embracing it and saying these things out loud is going to keep feeding it the power. So again, in order to take your power back, talk about it. Talking about it is going to help you gain some power in order to start moving forward toward that obstacle, toward that fear. We may not go through it, but whether we go around it, go over it, go through it, regardless, we need to get to the other side of that obstacle and stop letting that obstacle detour us off of our successes. About, talking about it, me sitting here and telling you, it sounds really easy, right? Yeah, I get it. I've never been afraid of anything in my life. Yeah, right. Just simply heights. I'm afraid of heights. When I was in boot camp, I embraced those fears and I talked about them. We had to do the rappel tower. I went to the top of this 30-foot tower, and on the way up the stairs, I was talking to myself, and I said, "Self, I'm afraid right now." When I got to the top of that tower, I was now presented with two fears. I was afraid of heights, and I was afraid of the drill instructor. And so I embraced that fear of heights and my fear of that drill instructor. And I said, "Sir, I'm afraid of heights." And immediately he helped me to take that next step. He said, "Get on the skid." So I rappelled off of a helo skid right off this tower into just nothingness. So it's a drop off, a 30-foot drop off. So I got on the helo skid And he told me, lean back and jump. And I did that. And so that leads me into how we are able to move in to that fear, move into that obstacle in order so that we can address it and overcome it or go around it or move it or whatever the case may be. And you got two methods, right? We can take baby steps and we can tell the person that we want to have a conversation. We can set up things that put us on the path to having these difficult moments or overcoming that fear or facing that fear. And I think of it like the pool. How do you like to get in the pool? Do you eventually get in the pool if you take baby steps? If you just ease into the pool, if you just come in the shallow end and you walk up and then you finally get up to your swim level, does that help you? Or if you're like me, I got to get on the skid. I got to just jump into the pool. I got to dive head first. When I go into the ocean, I'm running out there and I'm jumping in the ocean. And I'm letting those waves hit me so that I can feel that cold water or that fear that I was afraid of. But that leads me into another point. During the time that you were separated from the normal operations of your community or that environment, that household, that neighborhood, your friend group, your social media, school, whatever that you were separated from for that time, you were able to really touch base with yourself and you found out some things about yourself. You found some strengths and you found some weaknesses. But you have to really know those weaknesses so that you can apply those strengths that you do have to overcoming these obstacles. And that's a part of this, right? You got to know yourself, how you respond to fear, what's going to help you move in the best direction toward the fear, toward whatever obstacle, so that we can get over that and on to that next and most important step to being successful. So learning who you are, getting to know who you are is an ongoing process. There's going to be changes in your life. There's going to be things that you learn that's going to cause you to think a little differently. You're going to have a different perspective, a different outlook on your life, your goals, your relationships, your finances and everything. And you're going to change your perspective on things a little bit. So getting to know those strengths, those things that make you afraid, and those weaknesses and those obstacles for you is going to be really specific to you at the time that you're trying to accomplish a certain goal. So continuing that process is going to be big. I just want to close out with this. I feel like Metro should drop a beat right now. Metro, because I just want to end on this message of be a superhero, right? Like being a superhero. If you remember, I talked about Nipsey Hussle talked about inspiring other people. To inspire somebody else to accomplish a goal is really like you're a superhero. You've removed an obstacle so that this person can be successful. You've helped this person overcome a fear. You've helped this person out of a place of despair so that they can become successful or overcome an obstacle or do something nice for somebody else or say some kind words, whatever the case may be. Just by you being you, you can inspire other people. So you have to talk about it. And let's tie this into the whole message, right? Doing something every day that scares you. When you embrace that fear and you talk about it, look, a lot of times I talk about what I'm afraid of, even with my kids. More importantly, when I know I'm going to overcome that obstacles. I'm afraid of heights. I'm going to do something up high in front of them so they can say, he's afraid. My dad is afraid of heights. but he jumped off, he climbed the tree, he climbed the ladder, he jumped off the high dive or whatever, is going to show them that sometimes you can be afraid and still embrace that fear, and still accomplish that mission or overcome that obstacle. But by communicating that with people, communicating your fears, and then overcoming those fears, they're going to see that you can be afraid and overcome obstacles at the same time. Courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. I know you guys have heard this. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is feeling fear, feeling anxiety, feeling your feet rooted to the floor, feeling butterflies in your stomach, feeling your throat close up before you're able to talk to somebody, forgetting what you're going to say to somebody, stuttering because you are too afraid in the moment to get your thoughts together, right? All these things are symptoms of what fear feels like. It's keeping you from that goal. It's keeping you from even getting to the obstacle, to overcome the obstacle so that we can move on to be successful. Courage is still pushing yourself to take that step forward when your feet are stuck on the floor, when you can't get up out of the chair, standing up, when you're afraid to have that conversation with your mom, when you're afraid to ask her if you can have a later curfew, if you're afraid to tell her that you want to go to college for whatever your dream or passion is, when you're afraid to have that conversation with your dad, when you're afraid to tell your friends, no, that's not me anymore. Courage will help you bet on yourself in every situation. So by talking about it, courage can inspire other people to be great. So as we end class, man, always, always, always be a superhero. Every day, let's face those challenges, face those fears, and be great. I'll see you next time.